Ahead tonight, the big job the organizers of a national training program have ahead of them as they look to reduce unemployment.
Also ahead tonight, why the Christie administration says the NIGARD controversy is nothing more than mischief.
And a shake-up of shanty towns in Abaco. The National Report starts now.
Now in HD. ZNS Network presents The Bahamas Tonight. This segment of the news is brought to you by BTC, powered by Lime.
I'm Keishla Adderley.
And I'm Kendino Knowles. As always, it's good to have you with us.
Topping the news tonight, aiming to neutralize joblessness with skills training to meet the demands of an evolving workforce, the Gladstone Road headquarters of the National Training Agency officially opened last evening.
Prime Minister Perry Christie officially opened the event today, noting the urgency of preparing Bahamians for the opportunities being brought on by development. Now, the site will house the thousands of Bahamians who need to acquire the right skills to enter the job market. As Altavi's Munnings reports, the government anticipates hundreds of jobs will be generated from the agency's success.
Investments like Bahamar, Albany, ongoing developments at the Atlantis Resort on Paradise Island, and the Reef in Grand Bahama will need trained and skilled Bahamians to take advantage of the available job opportunities. That's where the Christie administration believes the National Training Agency comes in. The facility will equip school leavers and young adults under the age of 25 with vocational training required for the job market.
I'm pleased to announce that an estimated 990 trainees throughout the length and breadth of the Bahamas, including Nassau, Freeport, Abaco, and Exuma, will participate in the first pilot program, which will begin the first week of August and last for 10 weeks.
Labor Minister Shane Gibson maintains that empowering the nation's youth for the regional and international stage is crucial in this period of Bahamian history. Prime Minister Perry Christie agrees. Mr. Christie also admonished National Training Agency Director Agatha Marcel to fully utilize her human resources skills to get the job done.
And I want you to go out, whoever they may be, wherever they are, and find these young, disenfranchised Bahamians, boys and girls, young men and young women, and present them with an opportunity to have a defining change in their lives.
National Training Agency Director Agatha Marcel informed ZNS News that the first course for participants will be Workforce Prep.
It's spread over 4 weeks. It's 12 half days, 3 half days a week. They have to participate and they have to be disciplined in those in order for us to refer them to the skills training. And skills training is 10 weeks. And at the end of that time, they get their skills certificate.
Now that the headquarters for the government's National Training Agency is open, operations don't begin here until next week, Monday, July 22nd. Doors will open at 9 a.m. for registration. Altavi's Munnings, ZNS Network News.
Agriculture Minister V. Alfred Gray today said if he had to do it again, he would. This as he defended his appearance in a video with fashion designer Peter NIGARD. The video, which was shot after the 2012 general election, is drawing criticism from the opposition. Minister Gray says he visited NIGARD Key on 2 occasions, the first time for a prize-giving ceremony for the Clifton Key Regatta and a second time to accept a donation for the Acklands Regatta Committee. He maintains that he and other cabinet ministers did nothing wrong, and he dismissed the Free National Movement's criticism on the matter.
Mr. NIGARD is a Bahamian. He is a philanthropist, and I think he has given more to this country than many other Bahamians, including those who criticize him. As a member of the government, I always be careful what I do, where I do it, and what I do. And so I have no regrets having appeared to do what I did. And if I had to do it again, I'll do it again. FNM must always be honest to the Bahamian people. Frank Watson was a frequent visitor as Deputy Prime Minister to NIGARD's Key and to NIGARD's residence. Why, Mr. Chairman of the FNM, don't talk about that? See, they have one standard for the FNM and another standard for the PLP. And that is hypocritical.
Now, the minister dismissed the idea that Mr. Nygaard may have some influence over the Progressive Liberal Party, as suggested by the opposition. He declares this government is not for sale.
Nobody could influence the PLP. We are grounded in principles and we stand on our reputation. What I do not like is the fact that they criticize Mr. Nygaard for being, in my view, generous. And I don't know why some other Bahamians, particularly those who live in life with Key, do not come to the plate when Bahamians need them. Regattas, in my view, are not political issues. They are issues to which each Bahamian, including those of you of the press, could contribute to. But because Mr. Nygaard contributes to it, and he do it so often, people believe he is getting something in return. This government is not for sale.
The Prime Minister also jumped to the defense of his cabinet members, reasoning that meetings between cabinet ministers and investors are normal.
If one was Perry Gomez, for example, Perry Gomez you couldn't contaminate him. He would have sat down with Nygaard to discuss stem cells. So would Dwayne Sands have done that with Nygaard in terms of cells, a pure science. I told the Bahamian press and told the people in the meeting that Nygaard spoke to me about the experience with his mother when he was searching for a cure for her, and his commitment, multi-million-dollar commitment in China, in the Far East, to stem cell research. It's a normal, natural thing for us to do what we're doing. I spent 2 days down at Baker's Bay talking with the investors down there, fraternizing with them. No one wants to talk about that. I sit down in my office and talk with Craig Simonet. I'll talk with Brent Simonet. They're investors too. But, that's what we do.
The Miami Herald is tonight reporting that Cuban exile groups are planning a series of protests as cruise ships leave the port of Miami for Nassau on Friday. The groups are hoping to highlight allegations that Bahamian guards are abusing Cuban and other undocumented migrants being held at the detention center. The Herald reports that the Democracy Movement will gather on several boats holding signs for cruise ship passengers bound for Nassau to see. The movement says signs will include messages such as Bahamas be beautiful again and respect the human rights of the undocumented migrants. We'll continue to follow this story.
Well, the latest statistics show that more than 30 shanty towns exist here in New Providence, and regulating them and eliminating the hazards they create in the capital has been a lingering struggle. Abaco has shared a similar concern for years. The long-standing community known as the Mud and Marsh Harbor is also getting the attention of officials looking to control the sprawling communities. Janelle Noel Ferguson was on the island as the area MP made his own assessment.
The recent report on shanty towns conducted by the Ministry of Environment highlighted three main areas in Abaco, namely the mud, sandbanks, and the peas where shanty towns exist. MP for North Abaco, Renato Curry, says health hazards are chief among his concerns.
We want to protect even persons in the mud and pigeon peas. And so when we address matters pertaining to the mud, we address it on a health perspective. We have young children living in that area. And so the government must take into consideration how do we remove these kinds of shanty towns that have become a health hazard, not only to the persons that live there, but it can also be health hazard to those in surrounding communities.
Now, the crux of the whole issue, he says, is finding proper facilities for persons who are legitimate citizens and persons who are born in the Bahamas but remain stateless. The Constitutional Commission recently recommended that gender discrimination be removed from the Constitution and that a special commission be established for children born to foreigners. In many of the shanty towns, Curry says the concerns from those who occupy those areas are the same.
I believe a lot of them want to get out. They don't enjoy living in those degrading conditions. And so if an opportunity exists, you have to offer people alternatives. And so we're going to seek to offer the alternative for them.
Now, raids or immigration exercises were reportedly carried out in Abaco on Monday. Curry says although those who live in the shanty towns are fearful of this, at the end of the day, the law of the land must be upheld.
It's not the fact that you're raiding, it's the fact that you're seeking to ensure that any persons in the Bahamas abide by the laws of the Bahamas.
Now here in New Providence, the government has given landowners where shantytowns are present 30 days to bring their spaces up to code. Residents, however, are requesting more time. Janae Noel Ferguson, ZNS Network News.
In our first look at weather, we have that mid-level trough over the Bahamas, and that dumps some heavy showers and thunderstorms over the islands today. But outside of our studios just now, we have mostly cloudy skies, temperature 75 degrees, relative humidity 94%. Your winds are calm, barometric pressure 1,018.4 millibars. That's 30.07 inches, and it is falling. But stay tuned. Temperatures around the Palm Leaf Islands, travel and boating forecast is still to come.
Has been completed, and the government has been given an elevation plan.
Now, Rolls says the engineer, who he did not name, examined peaks and valleys in those flood-stricken areas. He could not say, though, how soon that report would be released or when the government will act on the report.
The way the map was produced, it showed the shaded areas where there were peaks and the shaded area by corner where they expected flooding to occur and the level of flooding that occurred. So I was very pleased at what they produced. And we're now going through the process of determining how we execute the possible solutions, the possible recommendations that they believe will provide us some of the relief that we may need.
Abaco has the third largest economy in the country, in part due to its considerable second home market. But the new general aviation and other fees which came into play with the new fiscal budget has spurred an online petition and raised concerns about what impact the feud may have on tourism. But MP for North Abaco Renato Curry doesn't believe that these new taxes will put the island's economy in jeopardy.
There were a few concerns. In particular, they felt the taxes were implemented so quickly. Being in July, and so there was they felt as if it should have been a little bit more warning, but for the most part, very minimum concerns we have received. I think Abaco has proven to be a very viable economy when it comes to our return tourist base. We have a lot of loyal tourists that come here year after year, and as I said, the second homeowners they have made. Of course, they're concerned about it, and any issue and concerns they may have, I seek to meet with them on a regular basis wherever I can to find out their concerns, and I'll relay that to the government on their behalf.
Well, still ahead tonight, turning wood into wealth. Ahead tonight, we'll tell you about the Abaco Forestry Project.
And Genting gets ready to set sail. You're watching The Bahamas Tonight.
This portion of the news is brought to you by Shell Helix Ultra. Performance you can see.